Okay, thank you. All right, could we get a verification sound check for members of the public and applicants? Can everyone see and hear me?
I can see and hear you.
Okay. Very good, we'll get going. Okay. Good evening. Welcome to the May 6th, 2021 meeting of the South Windsor Zoning Board of Appeals. Before beginning, there are a few items that we need to review. We are here tonight to hear your application, and we'll call each application as posted in the legal notice. When your application is called, please state your name for the record, as we are recording these proceedings should it be necessary to prepare documents for an appeal to our actions. We will then ask you to present your case to the commissioners present. At the end of presenting your case, we'll ask if there is anyone on the phone from the public who would like to speak on behalf of your application, against your application, or just make a general comment about the application. If you have come in support of or against an application, or wish to make a comment about an application, we ask that you state your name and spell your name for the record. After all testimony has been heard from the applicant and the audience, the commissioners will then ask their questions. After the commissioners have finished asking questions, they will either move that the public hearing on the application be closed or postponed, or postpone the closing of the public hearing until additional information may be obtained from the concerned parties. When the application is moved to the deliberative session, no further input may be obtained from the public or the applicant. The commissioners will discuss the application and work toward a decision. The decision may be made before the end of this meeting or at the next meeting. You're welcome to remain on the line in mute for the deliberative session and listen to the proceedings. However, if you do not want to stay on for the deliberative session, you may call the planning department for the results tomorrow morning. Please note that it takes an affirmative vote of 4 commissioners to approve a zoning board of appeals application. Those members of the board who are reviewing the case are the only ones allowed to discuss the application during these proceedings. A commissioner who has recused himself or herself, or an alternate not selected for the deliberations on a specific application, is reminded not to make comments during the discussions. Each variance must be supported by a hardship. The hardship must pertain to the property itself and must describe the unique issues to the property where the application of the zoning regulations cannot be met. While other information such as financial hardship may be presented, it will not be used as a determining factor. During your presentation, the commissioners may ask questions to help you better describe the hardships so they can clearly understand not only what you want, but also what the hardship is to support your application. If a hardship is not found during your presentation, your application will be denied because the hardship was not adequately presented. Each zoning board of appeals decision may be appealed even if it is granted in your favor. In other words, a neighbor or other entity may file an appeal in Superior Court to overturn the decision. All appeals must be filed within 15 days of the legal notice of the results of this meeting. We advise that if your variance is granted, you do not begin any work until after the appeal period has transpired. Some additional notes related to remote. This is a WebEx call that is being live streamed on our website as well as local channels. We are operating under the following procedures. The session is being audio recorded and video recorded. To ensure sound quality, the default rule for this meeting is that everyone will remain on mute. Commissioners and staff will generally remain on mute except when speaking or voting, and will generally be keeping video of themselves on throughout the meeting. Applicants should feel free to leave their video on or off. However, they will be asked to turn on their video when speaking. The public can provide comments by email and or phone. The email address and phone number with meeting code can be found on the front of our agenda. During the public comment, all the normal rules, including stating and now spelling your name, still apply. If you're speaking at this meeting and have an exhibit to submit to the commission, which was not distributed in advance of the meeting with the rest of the materials, please indicate that you wish to submit an exhibit. You will need to hold it up to the camera so that the commission and all members of the public may review it. In addition, you will be required to email the exhibit to planningzoningcomments@southwindsor-ct.gov, and it will be included in the permanent records of the commission. Members of the public may only speak during public participation for an item not on the agenda and during the public hearing comment period. Lastly, as a reminder to the public on the phone, to press *3 to indicate that you want to speak and pound to get back to the main menu. Now call the representative for application 2845-21, Margaret Shea, 266 Abbey Road, to state your name for the record.
Good afternoon, or good evening, Chairman Carty. For the record, I'm Peter DeMalley, President of Design Professionals, with offices at 21 Jeffrey Drive right here in South Windsor for the last 35 years this month, by the way, since our opening. We're celebrating that 35th anniversary. We were retained by the applicant to assist with preparation of the application, but also to assist with land surveying. We've performed a land survey of the property, also to do some engineering services to see where a garage could be built, which is subject of this application, and to help out with planning, general planning and entitlements. So thank you very much. It's an honor to be before you and to represent Margaret Shea. By the way, we're broadcasting live from Design Professionals offices. We're 17 associates, and in my office here is Margaret Shea, the applicant. So she's available should you have any questions directly for her. She's available to answer those that you may pose. Also, I just wanted to state for the record, Mr. Carty, Chairman Carty, that the Zoning Board of Appeals sign has been up at the site, and it's even up today. In fact, I just confirmed that with Margaret. They had remained up the entire time, so it still remains up. I know our staff member, Matt Arsenault, posted it previously. She was home at the time. So it's all about installing a garage. This property's never had a garage. So technically, the variance, it's a 20-foot side yard requirement. In section 3.1.2 uppercase A of your regulations, the table for the rural residential zone, and we're requesting a 7.5 feet variance to that 20 feet requirement for side yard. So in other words, the garage would be at least 12.5 feet away from the side property line. In our concept, I think in our plan, I believe it shows at 13.5 feet, but we don't, because of construction errors, because of siding that's applied to the building, depending on how it's erected. Sometimes you get as much as 3.5 inches of material, and we don't want to go exceed the allowance. So as a consequence, we'd like to go at an additional foot, if it's okay with you, just because, so they won't have to return to this body for a variance of inches, or tenths of a foot, as we describe it in our field. So therefore, we've requested the 12.5 feet instead of 13.5 feet, or 7.5 feet variance instead of 6.5 feet. But our intention is to have it where we're proposing it, where it lines up perfectly, and it'll be staked out, and hopefully the contractor, who's going to be building a custom, by the way, this is not going to be a made-to-order, off-the-shelf type of garage. This will be a custom, attractive designed garage that will match the building in terms of color and shutters and that type of thing, other features, roof materials. So it'll be blend in as if, although look fresh, as if it were there previously. So Margaret Shea resides in this house, as she owns it, 266 Abbey Road. That's north of Garnet Lane and on the east side of Abbey Road. And it's in a white colonial, two-story colonial with black shutters. It's a colonial style home, as I've indicated, and it was acquired by our parents, who are the original owners, from the builder of Section 1 Abbey Estates. That was in 1957. In the boom period of the 50s, post-war boom, where people were having large families, and she was part of that. There were seven Shea kids there. So she was there with her 6 siblings, and she was raised there. So she's a native of South Windsor, and this is her original home, and she's had the opportunity to move back into it and acquire it from the family. As most of the homes in that subdivision at the time, this house has never had a garage, and in fact, the whole neighborhood, almost nothing had a garage. A couple of houses had garages, but the vast majority were built without garages. I remember when I was a young kid in a subdivision, also from a large post-World War II family, we had a one-car garage. That was a big deal. To have one car and a garage, that was the new thing in the 50s. So I'm not surprised that they had no garages or one-car garages. A two-car garage was the exception. You rarely saw that. Three-car garage weren't heard of, except maybe down on, the Gold Coast. You might see some of those, of course, because they collected a lot of cars, even back then. Uh, so, and I'll just point out one time, when I was first retained as Director of Planning, that was in 1979, the first Director of Planning for the town of South Windsor, so I had the job that Michelle Life has today, and she does a wonderful job. I was required to go to court. The zoning enforcement officer was absent at the time. I had to go to court to defend the town. Our zoning requirement at the time was for a garage, not when this house was built, but subsequent to that. So in 1979, we required with every single family home that was built in town a garage. Just to let you know, and we had to enforce that, and that was not that atypical to have to go to court to enforce it. Not everyone wanted one. Today, I believe, Michelle can correct me if I'm wrong, that is not a requirement today in the town of South Windsor zoning regulations. But just to let you know, at one point it was a requirement for garage, but it was not when the subdivision was built. And so in the rural residential zone, we have that 20-foot setback, and we're requesting that you allow us to have as close as 12.5 feet, even though we intend to put it 13.5 feet from the side property line. So go through some of the peculiar circumstances of this particular property and what Margaret is asking for and what we went through and the undue hardships here. I'd like to go through those. I think what I'd like to do is, I think I'm going to start sharing, if I may. Can I be allowed? Is it Mike, your IT guy tonight? Is it possible to allow me to share? Yes, and I guess the thing is yes. Okay. All right, so I think I'm just going to I'll go to this first. Here's an ortho photo. You can still hear me, correct?
Yes, we're not seeing anything presented as of yet.
You're not seeing it presented.
I
Okay.
am not. Any other commissioners seeing that? Okay.
I am not either, Stephen.
Okay.
Okay, that's a problem. Let's see. Let me. Can you see that?
Not yet.
Not yet. All right, let's see. Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get out of this. And I won't, since you can't see any of these exhibits that I'm seeing. Nothing, huh? Okay. Okay, I'm just going to get out of this. And hopefully get out of this and still not lose us.
Yeah, no problem. Take your time, Peter.
All right. Let's see. Can't do that. No, I'll lose you.
Close the windows at the bottom.
Let's see. Yeah, that might help. No, let's see. And then I can minimize. Okay, there we go. That should help. For some reason, it wouldn't allow me to share. And you're not seeing this?
Not yet, no.
Okay, so I'm just going to forget that. Okay, the only thing I have different from what was submitted was we have a color version of the exhibit, the main exhibit, a blown up version. On the top, it shows the ortho photo, and similar to the plan we have is just a larger version that's colorized. It shows existing conditions and shows proposed conditions. But I'll just talk us through it. Since you already have the map, you have enough information to go by, and when I reveal it, it'll be fine, it'll be readily apparent. So, first point we made was that we're in the rural residential zone, where normally we require a builder's acre in this town, 40,000 square feet. Where this lot was allowed to be at half that requirement. It's in the same zone, rural residential, but the zoning at the time allowed for 20,000 square feet lots instead of 40,000 square feet lots. So as a consequence, we're at half the required lot size. So we think that's a factor in that it affords fewer options for placement of a garage. So instead of a 40,000 square foot lot in the rural residential zone, which requires 20-foot side yard setback, we're at half the size of the allowed lot in the zone, or minimum required lot today. That's the first thing. Also, the requirements of zoning at that time, back in the 1950s, in the rural residential zone, was for a 100 feet wide lot. And that's what this is, which is 75 feet less than today's requirement of 175 feet. This too, because it's narrower by 75 feet, restricts the placement of a garage to the side of the house without a side yard variance. Especially when you have a house of these dimensions placed on the lot the way it is, it's very difficult to get a garage to work. Other points, while Section 1 of Abbey Estates was by all indications a conventional subdivision, today's rural residential zone, if you have an open space subdivision within that zone, which this does not have open space associated anywhere within the block as we could decipher, it allows a 20,000 square foot lot. And if you have an open space subdivision in the rural residential zone and you have a half acre lot, builder's half acre lot, you're allowed to have a side yard of 10 feet, which is less than what we're requesting, given the smaller lot size and reduced frontage. So if you look at table 7.14.5A, which we've submitted to you, you'll see that. And in table 3.1.2A, the only half acre conventional residential lot in allowed the town, 20,000 square feet, is in the A20 zone, and that also appropriately allows a 10 feet side yard, which is less than we're requesting. One other factor, which is not on what we submitted, is that Margaret recently engaged a radar company that detects utility lines below surface, and they Core Built is one of the outfits that we've used, I know, but they detected the sewer line, where the sewer line is. Back over 50 years ago, the sewer line went up Abbey Road, and at that time, her parents immediately connected the sewer. They had a septic system out the back, so the sewer typically came from the back where it went out of the foundation and came around the side of the house. It's on our plan, and it shows it going between the house and the garage. We had to design it so we'd avoid impacting the sewer line that goes from the back of the house, between the house and the proposed garage, out to the front. So that's a consideration that we had to avoid. We're also on a collector street, Abbey Road, and you certainly want to have discouraged vehicle parking. Occasionally it happens with every household there, because you're not going to have a 5 or 10 car parking lot for any single family home, especially on half acre lots. But it's to be discouraged to have on-street vehicle parking, and by installing the proposed 2-car garage, detached 2-car garage that Margaret is proposing, it'll make for a safer situation. There won't be, as the frequency of on-street parking will be reduced, and that the household's 2 cars will be accommodated inside a new garage, and the expanded driveway will be of sufficient size to accommodate most guest vehicles. So that's a factor for most occasions. They have a larger gathering. Some people will park on the street, which happens. I've even been over there when that happened. Another factor I want to take into consideration, this is of late and it's not in our listed items, is that the town has been experienced, not unlike other suburban communities, we've been experiencing a low-level criminal element, often teenagers, sometimes from town, sometimes from out of town, sometimes from neighborhood. Most of them tend to be from out of town. They're coming by, and when cars are left outside, which is what she has to do in the absence of a garage, they're breaking into the cars. They're looking for cars that are unlocked, and if not, they break into the cars and they try to get your wallet or your keys or electrical devices, whatever they can get out of the car, and sometimes they steal the car as well. So that's been a problem for South Windsor. It's been a problem for every surrounding town. In fact, to my knowledge, every town in the Metro Hartford area, it's been a problem. So it's important to try to get your cars into a garage so that they be inaccessible to the thieves, these young kids who are going around, roaming around looking for an easy target. And a car that's sitting out in the driveway is what they're looking for. And so she would like to have her vehicles in a garage situation. Also, the garage is situated straight in the garage, in the driveway, up the driveway, such that the vehicles backing out of the garage can turn around before exiting onto the collector street. We have a place where you can back into. And again, we want to avoid backing into the street because of it's collector street and it's a safer condition. Another item is that a side load garage option is really not available to us because of the placement of the house, the sewer line, and some other factors, and the width of the lot, and the size of the lot. And also, we worked with Margaret and, a number of people in our office. I don't know if you know Barry Clark. He's number 2 guy in our survey department. He's also done engineering for the last 30 years or so. He's a real pro. He worked with her, even went out with her to her site multiple times, her lot, to look at where we could place it and looked at the grades. And so we've been, this is the available place to put it, and still have the drainage work on the site and still have a backyard, and to meet the requirements of a garage and safe vehicular circulation on the property and off the property. So the new garage building will be attractive. We have an illustration of a similar building. She's going to have a center pillar to accommodate both cars, and so we're going to have the 2-car garage. It's going to be attractive. It will not be the same color as the illustration, and it will be slightly varied from that. The pitch of the roof may change a bit, window placements, that type of thing. It's going to be a residential style garage. She does intend to have windows in it. She's indicating to me 4 windows she'd like to have in the garage. It'll be an attractive garage, and it'll be in keeping with the neighborhood. If anyone knows it's important to maintain a nice property and also that a garage adds value to it, it's Margaret Shea, who is, she owns Shea and Associates Real Estate here in town. She's the broker. She knows as well as anyone it's important to maintain a home's value. And also to protect the values of the neighbors, and this certainly will help the neighbors' values, which will be indicated in some letters that have been submitted for the record. Also, prior to the public hearing, the applicant did reach out to her immediate abutters to inform them of the application, and both immediate abutters, that's on the north side to the left as you're facing the house, or to the south side to the right facing the house, they were apprised of it, and to the degree that they were comfortable with it, and they both submitted supporting letters. If you don't have those readily available, they're short. I'd be glad to read them into the record if you'd like me to. It's at your call at the conclusion of this. But they were in support of this, and just to let you know, the butters to the north, they have a garage. They're one of the few houses that had a garage built at the time the house was built, so it could be accommodated on the narrow lot attached. And then on the south side, the closest to the proposed garage, they added a garage and breezeway at one point later on. There are still a few homes in the block without garages. For example, 4 lots to the south, it's a blue colonial home. They still do not have a garage like Margaret Shea's residence. But there are fewer and fewer homes that have garages because of necessity, for safety, for crime, for convenience, in the winter in particular, for ability to accommodate visitors, that type of thing. People have done it, and also for property values. And now, we indicated in item 12 in our application that the existing side yard setback is 6.1 feet from a shed that's been there for in excess of 50 years. It was when we did our survey recently, it was 6.1 feet from the southerly property line. And it looked great from the outside, by the way. I've been over there. Everybody complimented Margaret on her beautiful shed that her parents put up back in the 50s, late 50s. And that shed right now, it was deteriorating. She intended to replace the storage capacity of that shed with a garage. And that was her intent, but it's rotted to the degree that she had to take it down 2 weeks ago. So that shed is no longer there. We were going to double the setback, basically from 6.1 feet to 13.5 feet. That was the condition we had, but that was removed 2 weeks ago out of necessity because the floor was completely rotten, and it had to go. It had met its maker 2 weeks ago. So just want to bring that to your attention. When we did the survey, it was on there, as we're required to do. Every single building is shown on our survey, and we show the dimensions of it to the property line. And that was non-conforming to today's requirements of 20 feet for a shed. I know there have been variations to zoning regulations since then, depending on the size of the shed, that type of thing, but it's been there for over 50 years. I know when I was town planner for other communities, some towns didn't even regulate small sheds. They allowed them, just go ahead and put them up, but who knows the conditions at the time. But that shed is no longer there, but it's on our survey. It was there when we did our survey recently. Next is at the, and so you can ignore item 13, which is the shed's going to be removed because was just removed of necessity due to its deteriorating condition. Also, moving the garage further back into the rear of the house would not only ruin the property's private backyard. It's a very nice backyard. I've been there a number of times. It's also would interfere with lot drainage. The drainage does go through the back, and our engineers, including Barry Clark, concluded we really couldn't push it any farther to the rear. We didn't want to. We still wanted close enough to her entrance door, which is on the east side. That's where she enters the house, which is the sun-drenched kitchen. It's very nice. So we didn't want it too far away. But for drainage reasons and grading reasons, we really couldn't put it any farther to the rear, which could, and to preserve the backyard, we couldn't put behind the house, for example. And we're requesting, as I mentioned in my earlier part of my presentation, it's really a 13.5 feet intention, but 12.5 feet we're requesting. It's a 24 feet wide garage, and the siding could cause a problem or construction error, which is not uncommon for a few inches. We didn't want to have a problem. The proposal is for the garage will otherwise be conforming to all other zoning requirements. So in summary, we think it's unique to this property. Topography, topographic considerations, the undersized dimensional lot features, that's the lot size, which is half the size that's required in the zone. The lot width, which is 75 feet less than 175 feet is normally required in the zone. Requires them to erect a garage, really in the proposed location. She worked with us on that. It's removed from the street. We think it will create a safer situation for the owner, for the owner's guests, for the motoring public, for their neighbors, and also a safer situation with respect to minor criminal enterprises around here, kids in particular, teenagers that come through looking for a car to steal or to steal items from the car. We think it will enhance property values. There's no doubt. In fact, at least one of the letters indicated that you will have to read into the record. And we think it will improve the neighborhood by getting more cars into the garage rather than the driveway, and fewer cars out on the street. And we think it will protect the owner's vehicles in winter conditions. So I'm available to read those letters into record. It's your call. If you don't have them in front of you, they've been sent to Scott Custer, to Michelle Leip. I know she indicated she received them. So they're in. Pam Oliva has them by email as well. And I can't share, for some reason I can't share, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Peter, if they're not very long in content, I wonder if you wouldn't mind go ahead and reading them in. I don't.
Be glad to. Yep, they're very short.
The commissioners have copies of them, but it would be great.
Okay. This is dated May 1st, 2021, from the Todd Waterman. He and his wife reside to the on the south side. They're the most affected. Town of South Windsor Zoning Board of Appeals to you. As a homeowner at 258 Abbey Road, South Windsor, Connecticut, my wife and I are in support of Margaret Shea's zoning request with plans to build a garage on her property at 266 Abbey Road. Sincerely, Todd Waterman. And the second letter is from signed by Michael and Joanne Kappa. They're the direct neighbors to the north at 274 Abbey Road, so on the far side of the house in South Windsor. Dated April 27th, 2021, dear South Windsor ZBA, We're writing this letter in favor of our neighbor Margaret Shea's application for a 7.5 feet variance on the south side of the property at 266 Abbey Road, South Windsor, in order to accommodate a new two-car garage. We've been neighbors for over 35 years. The Sheas have always maintained their home and yard. The garage will be a nice addition, will increase property values in the area. Thank you for your consideration. Again, signed by Michael and Joanne Kappa, 274 Abbey Road, South Windsor, Connecticut, 06074, according to this, dated April 27th. One other thing, many people in town know the Sheas. They've been around for a long time. Some of them, other siblings reside in town. For example, Ann Malinowski is a fourth grade teacher. She's still fourth grade? A fourth grade teacher at Orchard Hill School, elementary school in town, the new one. And she's very highly regarded, and they're really nice people. I can attest to that. So Margaret's available for any questions, as am I. I think that concludes our presentation. I'm sorry we couldn't share these items, that you could see them, but you basically have the same information. We just have blown up colorized versions. So thank you.
Okay, thanks, Peter. Again, congratulations on 35th anniversary there.
Thank you.
Great milestone. And yeah, I was able to swung by a couple of days ago. I did also confirm that the sign was up in clear view, so appreciate that, conforming to those requirements. We'll go around and have the commissioners ask any questions that they may have of the application. Start with Commissioner Kopchunos. Any questions, sir?
I mean, just looking at the topography of the lot, it seems like it's a nice fit for the lot. Just make sure that you have a big enough garage. That's all.
Thanks, Jim.
We wanted to make sure she didn't have a tight fit for her vehicle, so it's big enough. And also, it's replacing the shed. She has to put those items into something as well. So thank you for the advice, Board Member Kopchunos.
Okay. Commissioner Dabrowski, any questions or comments?
No questions or comments. It's pretty straightforward.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Appleton.
No questions or comments. I was reminded just moments ago that it's a two-car because you're replacing a shed and you want a car in the garage. So that was my question, and thank you for the opportunity.
Very good.
Would you like me to address that? Or we're good?
It's all good. Yeah, I understand the reasoning. I was
Okay.
looking at some of the other houses on Google Maps just moments ago, and I saw that they were generally one cars. But as you mentioned previously, if you're replacing a shed and you want a one-car garage, that's a two, that makes two. So that makes
Okay.
sense to me.
Thank you very much.
Commissioner Stengel, any questions or comments for the applicant? You are on mute if you're speaking, John. Oh, calling in. Okay. No comments? Was that a shake of the head? Okay, very good. Thank you. Okay, are there any questions or comments from the public that might be on the line? No one else called in? Okay. Okay, I think we're all set then. Mr. Damali, appreciate the presentation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman Cardy.
We'll move on with the public hearing.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the next order of business. I now call the representative for application 2846-21, Elite Tire LLC, 199 Strong Road. State your name for the record, please.
Michael, that is going to be a Habib Al-Naswazi. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Should be brought into the meeting. Your applicant's here, Chair.
Okay. Welcome. Would you like to say a few words about your application, sir? I'm not hearing you if you're speaking. You may be on mute.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, this is my first time using this thing. Good evening.
No problem. Good evening. We can hear you fine.
Yes, my name is Ehab Alhasnawi, E-H-A-B. Last name is A-L-H-A-S-N-A-W-I. I'm here at 199 Strong Road in South Windsor. I don't have a big presentation and stuff, but used to be a bicycle shop here. Now I'm doing car tires. Nothing has really changed with the actual location. Like I said, doing car tires, and 90% of the time the customer wants an alignment, and to do an alignment, the DMV requires at least a limited repair license. So that's what I'm trying to get as that. I don't know if you guys have any questions. Sorry, I don't,
No, that's quite all right. The previous applicant is known for his thoroughness, so don't let that be intimidating.
Yeah, that was like, oof, that guy was like a lawyer.
No problem. Thank you very much. Any questions from the commissioners? We'll start from back to Mr. Kupchunos. Jim, you're on mute if you're speaking.
Sorry. So
No problem.
you've already been to the zoning board?
Jim, I can probably answer that. Michelle, like Director of Planning. There was no reason that the applicant had to come to planning and zoning for a site plan approval. There was an existing site plan on file, and this is a permitted use, and provided no changes are being made to the site, when permitted uses are proposed, an applicant or an owner can move into the site, and that's the situation.
So we're just doing it for the motor vehicle provision with
Correct, this is
that?
a motor vehicle licensing, yes.
And then is there any other provisions that we've had in place for that? Or is it pretty much, they have to go ahead and get everything through the state, through the DMV and all that?
The next step would be to submit to the state with their paperwork.
Okay, then I'm fine with that, with the property where it's been and how it was previously, the utilization of it. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Commissioner Dabrowski, any questions or comments?
No, it's just that it's a DMV requirement. It's a permitted use in that zone, so it's pretty cut and dry, and it's required, and I think it'll be good to go.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Appleton, questions or comments?
I have no questions. The only comment I would make is I would thank the applicant for presenting this to us and having all his paperwork in order. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
And Commissioner Stengel, questions or comments? Thumbs up, thumbs down? Shake of the head, that's a no. Everything good, okay. Okay, I believe you're all set, sir. Thank you very much for presenting your application today. We'll move on with the public hearing, and we'll make our decisions in the deliberative session shortly there following.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, final order of business. Now call representative for application 2847-21, RTT LLC, 1505 John Fitch Boulevard, Unit B. State your name for the record, please.
Michael, this would be Ernesto to bring into the meeting.
Yeah, how you doing?
Very well.
Can you guys see me, or we're having problems here?
We can hear you fine. Don't think you have any audio. Sorry, we can hear you fine. We can't see you. That's okay.
All right, no problem. How you doing, everybody? So my name is Ernesto Ole. I got Kathy with me right now to explain my my application.
Hi, everyone. I hope everyone is doing okay. Can you all hear me?
We can, thank you.
Okay, perfect. So I would like to start to introduce myself. As Ernesto said, I am Kathy, and I also like to introduce our business. I see unfamiliar faces. Last time I was in the meeting, I can't recognize any of you. So I like to introduce ourselves. We're RTT. We're a local and family-owned company right here in South Windsor on 1505 John Fitch Boulevard. And the reason why we're here in front of you today is because we are trying to see if we can get approved for a dealer license and explain how much it would benefit us greatly. Like we all know, none of us was expecting this pandemic. So as of 2020, we all have been struggling greatly. And at this point, we've decided in order to keep our doors open and continue to employ our employees and their families as well, our best bet would be in order to get this dealer license. At this moment, we do have a repair license, but Connecticut doesn't allow us to have both. And the only reason we like to have this dealer license is because unfortunately towing doesn't pay all the bills, and we are having a bit time trying to struggle, and we are all locally from here. We just bought property. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Burnham Street. We are the ones who are trying to build our home there. So we are doing some routes out here. And again, I just like to explain that we do have a bit of an issue trying to, secure work for our employees and ourselves as well. We do some towing for the South Windsor Police Department. And there are times that sometimes we may tow a vehicle and unfortunately it's wrecked or it's damaged or just inoperable. And having this dealer license would open a lot of doors for us, specifically the auction house, where we can dispose of those vehicles as well by selling them there, and as well as in-house. Sometimes our vehicles, our trucks, our tows, or wreckers may not be functioning well. We can just pass them through the auction house, sell them, as well as purchase trucks for our own selves. If you guys have any other questions, I can answer them, or if you want me to continue, I can continue as well. I do have a little list of things that I can't compete with the lawyer over there, but I'll try my best.
No, that's okay. If you want to take a pause here, we'll go around and ask some questions. And if there's anything else you'd like to add, you'll have an opportunity at the end.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, questions from the commissioners. Commissioner Kupchunos.
So I'm just looking at the packet that we received, and on that, it looks like they just received an exception for this to utilize the property, but it would be for no more than 4 vehicles inventoried up for sale, and just that they maintain the the property in good condition and freestanding sides just to meet all zoning regulations. I mean, that's just from understanding that and going by the building where they have done a lot since the very first time we've seen this when they came for the repairer's license before. I think that it's would be a good, good to have them in that area to give them that opportunity to build their business.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks, Jim. Commissioner Dabrowski, questions or comments for the applicant?
Just as simple as a repair license is advantageous to any automotive business. So it's, I clearly do automotive stuff, so I understand that. And I have no problems with it.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Commissioner Appleton?
Yeah. I guess I just wanted to confirm, and maybe I got distracted. You're in concurrence with the modifications of what planning and zoning put forward about the 4 cars and things like that, correct? That's not an issue or anything for you all, and that still affords you the opportunity to do what you like?
Yes, sir. I'm okay with the 4 cars because we're really looking for the auction access, and That's the only way we can get to the auctions and stuff.
Yes, we're okay with the four. The reason for it's because the dealer license will open the door for us to enter into the auction house and enables us to be able to purchase. As you are aware, also we can purchase vehicles from there and then sell them at other auctions house. So that would definitely help us, with everything that's going on, to have our doors open and continue to keep our employees employed.
Thank you. In this short conversation, I learned a little bit more about your business, and I appreciate that opportunity. Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Commissioner Stengel. Questions or comments for the applicant?
Thanks.
None, okay. Okay, without any further questions, was there anything else you wanted to put forth with the application, or are you all set?
No, we're all set.
Yeah, we all set.
Okay. Just to verify, no other members of the public who joined the meeting? Okay, thank you.
Chairman Cardy, if I could just take 1 second, I thought maybe I'd take a minute and just explain to the board where the 4 cars comes from.
Go right ahead, thank you.
Yeah, so this is in an industrial zone, and a couple of years ago, the Planning and Zoning Commission wrote a text amendment to the regulations limiting car sales in the industrial zone to a maximum of 4 cars, and this is by special exception. The concern at the time where we were seeing a lot of applications for car sales in our industrial zones, and they were trying to discourage that from occurring. So that's why they put the limitation of 4 cars on it. So the applicant did come in front of the Planning and Zoning Commission with that understanding. Again, this is an industrial site, so that's why they requested that they not be offered for sale out in the parking lot, but rather they could be on the property and inventoried. And as explained by the applicant, their primary goal was to be able to get access to the auction through the licensing. Motor vehicles makes it somewhat difficult without getting an approval from Planning and Zoning to be able to do used car sales. But that's where the 4 cars comes from. If they wanted to do more than 4 cars, they would actually need a variance to the regulations, and that would be back to you guys. So this seemed to meet the applicant's needs, and the Planning and Zoning had a similar reaction to you folks. I'm very accepting of them looking to expand their business model and be able to get access to them. But I thought I'd just clarify that for you so you could understand where the 4 cars comes from.
That was very helpful. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Yeah, thanks, Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle.
Okay, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Move to close the public.
That's Commissioner Dabrowski, I think. Second,
Second.
Commissioner Appleton. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? Motion carries. And we'll move on to the deliberative session. We'll begin with the first application, 2845-21, Margaret Shea, request for a 7.5-foot variance to table 3.1.2A. Anyone like to open the discussion? Any commissioners?
I'd have to say it's pretty straightforward. The way the topography is set up, the way that the drainage is, and with the lay of the sewer line, they really don't have too many options on where to put that garage. Obviously benefits the neighborhood. The neighbors are fine with it. I don't see anything. I'd be ready to make a motion to approve.
Any other discussion points from any of the other commissioners?
Just looking at, she's going to be replacing a shed with the 2-car garage. That would be the only other point that Commissioner Appleton mentioned as well.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve application 2845-21, Margaret Shea requests for a 7.5-foot variance to table 3.1.2A to allow a 2-car detached garage, 12.5 feet from the side property line, 20 feet required, on property located at 266 Abbey Road, rural residential zone. with the hardships being the topography, being the drainage and the sewer line.
All in favor? Oh,
Second,
sorry, second. Commissioner Kupchunos?
second,
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Any abstained? Motion carries. 5-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank
Okay, moving on to application 2846-21 Elite Tire LLC. Request for approval of a Department of Motor Vehicle General Repair License. Any discussions? Yes, Commissioner Kupchunos.
It seems like a pretty straightforward, application for that, property. I'd like to, make a motion to approve the request for motor vehicle license for, or application 2846-21 Elite Tire on 199 Strong Road, Industrial Zone.
Okay, could I, okay. I'll approve.
You get a second, is there a
Oh,
second?
sorry, I thought I heard a second from Commissioner
I
Dabrowski.
think, yeah, Commissioner Dabrowski seconded it. It's me.
Yep. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank
you.
Any abstained? Ayes have it, motion carries. Okay, moving on. Final application 2847-21 RTT LLC, request for approval of a Department of Motor Vehicles license. Open for conversation.
Say it's pretty cut and dry again. I mean, it's obviously, there's other dealers in the industrial zone. They seem to have already met all of planning and zoning's requirements and the planning department's requirements. It would obviously benefit their business. I don't see any reason to not approve and move forward.
Any other discussion?
Just that they're limited to the 4 cars on the property, and that would be the restrictions that were, or I should say, what was said for our zoning with the industrial zone. I have a question for Michelle. Are they with the dealers, with the general repairs license and the used car dealer license, how many days do they have to wait before they can go and do anything?
We advertise them. I mean, there is an appeals period, just like you have any other appeals, but so it'd be 15 days from your legal notice advertising.
Okay, I just wanted just verification for that. Thank you.
Any other discussion points? Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve application 2847-21 RTT LLC, request for approval of a Department of Motor Vehicles license for the sale of new and used cars on property located at 1505 John Fitch Boulevard, Unit B, Industrial Zone.
Do I have a second for the motion?
Second.
Commissioner Appleton, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? Ayes have it, motion carries. Okay, congratulations to all the applicants. Again, it was just mentioned, but a reminder, please wait 15 days before taking any action in order to avoid any issues with respect to appeal. You're not required to listen any further, but you're certainly more than welcome. Thank you very much and have a good night.
Thank you very much, and everyone have a good night.
Thank you.
You too.
Thank you.
Guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay. Move on to approval of minutes. These are the minutes from our last actual meeting, which was on September 3rd, 2020, if you can believe it.
I'd like to make a motion.
Minutes.
I'll second.
Okay, Commissioner Dabrowski makes a motion. Commissioner Capuchino second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstained? Ayes have it, motion carries. Any new business? Okay, hearing none.
I just have a question, if we could possibly, seeing that we have some new commissioners, be able to have a training session once we're able to possibly meet in person to a degree, once that happens, Michelle?
We certainly can. We can arrange something with our town attorney, Carrie Olson. I know she'd be happy to do that.
Hasn't she done it before?
Yeah, she
For
she's
us?
done it
Okay.
several years ago. Are you up to a full board right now? Do you have any missing members at all? Do you know? Well, I'll check into
we're-
that, but
I
if
don't
we have
think
any,
so.
I
okay,
think we're full. I think
Okay.
we're full. Michelle.
yeah, we'll be happy to set up something for you.
Yeah, I think I believe it's full.
Okay, yeah.
I'd
If we
appreciate
have
that. Thanks.
We could try to do it on one of your meeting nights. If we don't have any applications pending, maybe we could try to do it, you know, a first Thursday of the month.
Yeah.
Off night.
That might be cool.
Yeah, be happy to do that for you.
Okay.
Hey, can we have money for pizza?
Wait a minute, Jim. You're pushing me.
There's no money.
And Michelle, were you saying before the actual meeting began, I'm sorry, I can't remember if it was during the meeting or before the actual meeting began, but after mid-May, I think our June meeting could actually be partially in person. Is that what you're saying?
That is my understanding is we will be starting public meetings, mid-May. I think May 19th is the date. So stay tuned for that, but that is my understanding, yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Any other items to discuss for new business? Okay, hearing none. Any old business? Not aware of any myself. Any correspondence to read into the record? Okay. Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Any seconds?
Second.
Commissioner Dabrowski, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? Motion carries. Meeting is over. Thank you very much, everybody, for your participation, as always. Look forward to seeing you in person sometime soon.
Nice seeing you guys.
Okay.
Take care now.